Yes, friends, what's going on? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. I hope you're doing well, mate. I really do hope that third upload of the day, an evening upload for you, because heck, I wanted to. New setup in the office, new surroundings, new tech. I wanted to deliver you content when I feel like it, and heck, I feel like it. Positive news on Reece James. I do want to talk about UEFA FFP investigations. Of course, you know, big profile stories there regarding some clubs. But is it Chelsea? Also, some updates on a couple of players that we want to sell and where they could go. So, as always news to talk about regarding Chelsea Football Club. Why? Oh, why am I losing focus? Anyway, there is always news. You can always hear it aggregated here, and if you are interested in my opinion on it, then I would recommend you subscribing, hitting the bell notifications icon, and let's see if I can make this better. And yeah, if you want to drop a like on the video, it's much appreciated. Thank you for that. We'll talk about the FFP in just a moment and Reece James' injury. A couple of updates on players we're trying to flog in terms of the highest profile names. Still not Romelu Lukaku. Don't worry, I'm going to spare you of that name and saga in this video. Someone I do want to talk about though is Callum Hudson-Odoi, of course wanted by Fulham. And I think he would like the idea of going to Fulham. They are trending in a positive direction. He gets to stay in London. Heck, he gets to stay in Fulham in terms of the stadium. But apparently Everton are interested in signing Hudson-Odoi. I'm just going to read a short article here on hitc.com. Sean Dyche's Everton. Now, surely, if you're Hudson-Odoi, you'd want to go play football, free-flowing, attacking football for Silver's Fulham, rather than perhaps playing agricultural Brexit ball over in Merseyside for Sean Dyche. Maybe being a bit unfair, but, you know. According to 90 Min, Everton are among the clubs who are interested in signing Hudson-Odoi from Chelsea this summer. Fulham and Nottingham Forest are also other clubs in the Premier League who want to sign him. There are, of course, talks of Lazio. We've spoken about that before. Our former manager in Maurizio Sarri's over there. He really liked Hudson-Odoi. Hudson-Odoi had his breakthrough season under him. But yes, Cho is on £120,000 per week, and he's got a year left on his deal. Now, he would probably have to take a wage cut, maybe to like substantially, maybe to like 60% of that, but you know, sign a 5-6 year deal, I guess. Yeah, Everton are a massive club, you know, make no bones about it. They're a massive club. They've got an amazing atmosphere, fan-based stadium, so he might enjoy that, you know. He might be a good signing for Everton as well, this article goes on to say, but, you know, that's kind of not what we care about. They are suitors for him, which is really, really important. I think Chelsea will be looking to just make a really small revenue, well, hopefully around 10 million. Again, if you look back at the times where Bayern Munich were talking about a £70 million transfer fee for him, and now he should be like, you know, at 22, his trajectory should have gone up and up, and, you know, his value should have just kept going up. But sad how things happen. He still remains to be a really talented footballer, and he'll make whichever team he goes to better. I'd like to see him at Fulham personally, but we move. Anyway, it does feel like we're going to sell him. Aubameyang, is he going to go to Saudi? Well, Marseille have made a move for him, of course. French-speaking Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. What happened? Aubameyang has held... Sorry, I'm reading this from goal.com. I should cite that, really. Aubameyang has held talks with Chelsea over a potential exit this summer. Sky Sports, who are rarely at the head of transfer news, reports that there is concrete interest from Marseille in securing his signature. The Ligue 1 side are expected to make a formal approach to sign the former Gabon international, although it's not clear yet if a loan deal will be discussed or a permanent transfer. Of course, I believe he also has just 1 year left on his deal. He did score 3 goals for Chelsea, apparently, but he's impressed, of course, previously at Arsenal, Barcelona, and Borussia Dortmund. It would be a big signing for Marseille. He would represent like a, you know, high-profile striker arriving. Didn't he play at Saint Etienne years and years ago, I believe, potentially. I think he played at a different league or club. Anyway, you know, lovely old job. Basically, what we're hoping with him is we won't even get, fee. Ultimately, they will be hoping to be a loan where we, pay some of his wage. They will absolutely not be able to pay his wages. What will have to happen is we'll have to rip up his contract. They'll give him like a 2-year deal and he'll go and play football. That's probably what's going to have to happen with Aubameyang, or certainly that is what we would like to happen with Aubameyang. We're not going to get a transfer fee from, he's like mid-30s and hasn't played, and etc., etc. But another high-profile player out, that we don't want off the books, squad, slots free, loads and loads of incredibly high wages off the books as well. Now, speaking of money, wages, and the books, UEFA today have published in their findings, or the CB first chamber, which I guess is a big important part of the investigative stuff. And they're very professional here from UEFA, the European football governing body. Of course, they watch everyone, financial fair play, and say who's being naughty, who's not, usually having a keen eye on the likes of Manchester City and PSG. In fact, they said, Man City, you've been very naughty, you've been cooking the books for years. We all remember a couple of years ago, we're going to ban you from the Champions League for 2 or 3 seasons. But of course, City and their very expensive lawyers took UEFA to the Court of Arbitration of Sport, and on technicalities, they managed to get it overturned. But UEFA, so it looks like they have no power in their own in the place that they govern themselves. But of course, everyone was talking about Chelsea. Chelsea have spent 630 million. Chelsea, excuse my language. Chelsea have breaking the rules. They're cheating. But no, we haven't. Is the verdict. So let me just read you this little segment here. So during the last season, the CFC, not Chelsea Football Club, CFCB First Chamber, chaired by Sunil Gulati, concluded the assessment of the break-even requirement, which is the rule, isn't it? Break even, like don't put the club in the red, even if you're getting juiced by the owners, if that makes sense. So it's always in 4 years, the financial fair play cycles. That's why Chelsea, we work. All clubs work in this 4-year period. They try and stretch things maybe to over, or get things just in between the segment. They manipulate their business to suit their needs, whether it's in the 4-year period or waiting for the next. So this was the analysis of 2019, 20, 21, and 2022. So summer 2022, of course, we spent massively, and of course previously we bought Romelu Lukaku for like 100 million, etc., etc. So lots and lots of spending. And the clubs that have been pulled up, the high profile were Porto and Lille, Milan and Marseille, and some others were all that were under investigation were okay, but high profile clubs would be Manchester United and Barcelona, essentially. So Barcelona were fined $500,000, which is nothing, and this is euros, of course, so it's slightly less than sterling for us people on the British Isles. So Barcelona, of course, they've been in financial ruin for ages. It doesn't surprise me, but they'll look at $500,000 and go like, that's not even a week's wages for what the top Galacticos in the world. They will not care about that. So it really says a lot about the kind of punishment that may be inflicted by UEFA. You sort of wave it away, which really doesn't say much, does it? But Man United, really, really interesting, because Man United got a big fine as well, and they're seen as like the really, generating so much revenue, United. I know they've dipped a little bit, but, they're not state-backed United. They're the biggest team in England, and they've just generated a lot of revenue over the last, 30, 40, whatever plus years from being very successful and becoming a big brand. So to hear that they have been in breach of financial fair play is interesting, but I mean, they've been making terrible signings for a very long time. So I suppose those 4 years, they made some, you could pull someone out, in your head, some failed signings in the last 4 years at United. Certainly before that, there was loads as well in the last decade, but I'm sure there's some there. Anyway, Chelsea, not mentioned for the last 4 years. Of course, we've entered the new cycle now. but where we spent in January, a lot in January, of course, but we've sold a lot this summer. Everything's gonna be alright. Reece James, we had a scare. He had a knee scan before, but Simon Johnson of The Athletic has written this. Chelsea defender Reece James had a scan on the knee injury, on a knee injury ahead of the club's pre-season tour in the US. So he's had long-standing knee problem and hamstring, I believe. James is understood to still be included in Chelsea's tour squad, which leaves for the US on Monday, of course, after this weekend, with the problem only minor. So that's good. They've scanned it, they've looked at it closely, and they're like, it's nothing, you'll be all right. Although, like I said before, you got to be careful with Reece. You got to wrap him up, and you got to make sure Gusto is ready to go. So the England international felt some pain during a pre-season training session this week, with the club taking precautionary measure to send him for a scan ahead of the trip in the Atlantic. Yeah, obviously, like, Pochettino's notorious hardcore preseason stress. If you've got any weak points from all this hardcore exercise, it's probably going to twinge a little bit. And that's probably what happened. And this precautionary scan proved that it wasn't an issue. So last season he did have an injury hit season where he saw him miss out a place in the World Cup. Of course, he tried to get fit for it. And, before he was injured, he was like, he won a man of the match for England. He was England starting right back, So his knee, and exactly like I said, knee and hamstring issues restrict the 23-year-old to just 24 appearances in all competitions last season. And we obviously are in Europe as well, so that's really bad for your first choice right back. Granted, we went out of both cups in the first round because we pulled the treble-winning Man City away at the Etihad for both competitions, which is like, how's your luck, mate? You know what I mean? So the hamstring injury saw James miss the end of last season, meaning the academy graduate had to play catch up in terms of his fitness. And for this new campaign, James had a tailor-made fitness schedule while on holiday in Dubai, warm weather training and back in the UK for pre-season. New head coach Pochettino, meanwhile, began work at the beginning of the month and has been working with his squad as he assesses his charges ahead of the tour. I don't know what assessing his charges means. Anyway, of course, Chelsea will play Wrexham, Brighton, Fulham and Newcastle and Dortmund. A lot of games there. Lovely stuff. So positive news, really. If we sum it all up, many suitors for Callum Hudson-Odoi. Not just Saudi for Aubameyang. He could probably go back. He could go to Ligue 1. That'd be a great probably move for him as well, one would imagine. No issues that we can see regarding financial fair play for Chelsea. Certainly UEFA's investigations have pulled up other clubs and not Chelsea for that previous 4-year window. Lovely stuff indeed. And Reece James is going on the US tour and there's no problem with his knee. Or certainly nothing, major or to be worried about. He can go and continue training and they can go and continue keeping an eye on it. Anyway, I wanted to report this stuff to you this evening. Third video in the day. I'll keep it pumping. Make sure you turn the bell on. I want to make sure you guys all see the content all of the time. I'm just going to be in your eyes forevermore. Thank you for your continued support and I will look forward to seeing you on the next video. Peace.